creating a culture of love.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of us think we have to be the thing.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this. You were in a U-Haul, you got that call, Kanye needs a choir, but you just came back from a tour with Beyoncé.
Put me on tour. That's it. Life can whoop your ass so bad. Music and everything is cool, but what is your soul like?
Steve Epting. There you go. Just dust it off.
You know.
So I'm excited to have this conversation with you. You know, as creators, as artists, it's a very vulnerable space to put our thing out into the world. Yes. And you operate in the music space, you know, and I want to ask a question later about like, you work with Kanye, you work with Beyoncé, you work with some of the best of the best. Like, how does that feel as a creator? But in the moment, like, who are you? I want you to tell the audience who you are, where you came from, and also a little fun fact, like I'm a big AGT fan now. Mm-hmm. So whenever the choirs go on there was this one choir from Detroit last year that just blew my mind. That's just super awesome. So just realizing the power of the choir and Sunday service and all the things you came from. But I'm going to let you introduce you and let's just dive in.
Absolutely. My name is Steve Epting. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm an artist. And not just in the music sense, but I feel like an artist just in life. You know, I choose to use my creativity to not only show my passions of music and singing, but also expressing love with my family and my friends on purpose. And I love to have a good time. I love to skate. I would say I'm still at an intermediate level. You know, I'm not like, roll bouncing and getting smooth with it, but, I'm decent. So that's like one of my favorite things to do. Calms my stress, gives me a little push to keep working and keep getting things done.
We'll get you skating with Tunchi.
Come on, let's go.
I got a board right here. We'll pull it out later.
Now, skateboards, absolutely not. You're going to have to call an ambulance.
All right. No, I used to. Not anymore. I don't do a lot of different things now because what I do is already risky enough and I don't want to risk anything else. I train really hard. That's where I put the energy in. But any of the weekend pickup stuff, no more. I need my wrists.
No, for real.
It is what it is.
Yes.
So what is the first moment that you remember that put you on the path to becoming who you are today?
I would say the specific moment, I don't know if I remember the specific moment, but I do remember the time period. I definitely was a young boy, had to be about somewhere between 7 and 10, At that point, I had already been singing. I loved singing. But it was at the point where it was just like I wanted to do it all the time. Like, granted, at that time, I didn't see myself being a big artist or, doing this full time or this being something that I make my living from, but it was a burning in my soul. Like, I can wake up and do this all day, So that just really followed me through my middle school, high school years. And, really just, I wanted to immerse myself in whatever, growing up in church, that was my first outlet in singing and creativity, so I wanted to do that often. I literally remember, because my dad's a pastor, and one time we were supposed to go to a visiting church, and the choir was supposed to sing, and for some reason we weren't going that day, and I was like, "What's happening? Like, why aren't we going? Like, I'm ready. Like, I just want to sing.
Let me do my thing."
Yes, I'm ready to do my thing, and I literally broke down crying because we weren't going. I was somewhere between that 7 to 10 age range, but I knew at that moment, I'm like, this is something special within me that I know that I need to do this to live. That's that feeling. So it wasn't until college that I really made the decision to pursue music, because at the time I was a pre-dental major, looking to be a dentist. It was safe, it was secure, checking all the boxes of, what I thought I should be doing and what my parents wanted me to do. But it wasn't until speaking with a counselor, she told me that if you don't enjoy the work getting up to the profession, you won't enjoy the profession. And it was literally like a light just went on. It was like, well, what am I doing? Like I literally, at that point, was singing and actually already working with choirs and ensembles from like the age of 10. So it was like something that I was doing on a regular. So it was actually a no-brainer. And I'm so glad that I did that because it's helped me become who I am today.
Shout out to that counselor.
Shout out.
Have you ever messaged, said, hey, thank you?
Yes, we're still friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tess Bradley. Shout out to you, Tess.
There you
I
go.
love you.
But that's the truth. It's like, how many of us go down this path because we want to make our parents happy? We want to do the things that they're telling us to do. And look, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
They're trying to protect us, let us succeed in life.
Yep.
But also me, I've been an artist my whole life, but it wasn't like, hey, go be an artist. My mom put me in art classes. She put me in drawing classes. It wasn't not encouraged, but it was like, go be a doctor, go to banking, go to that career that you could make a living off of.
Especially from our parents' generation, the images of or the representation of artists that they see doesn't always look successful. It looks like run down or struggling or, not, contributing to society in some way. But I'm just so glad I've been able to show my parents and show my family that this is possible. Like there's so many other career paths and things in artistry and in music and in singing, as opposed to just a music teacher or an A-list artist. There's so many things in between that you can immerse yourself in and be successful in as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Most of us think we have to be the thing.
Yeah.
Right? You've been able to work with Beyoncé. You've been able to work with Kanye. Not everyone ever gets to that level. Like
Absolutely.
the Jay-Z's of the world, the Tupacs, the Biggies, the Snoops.
Yeah.
But there's everything in between there. There's the writers that no one knows that are laughing to the bank. And they're the ones that actually make the music for the superstar to sing it. But the superstar is not the superstar with the person making the music. And then the producer. And then the people running the choir. And then so on and so forth. So like, how does the choir boy, not to insult it, but like
choir
boy lead all the way to like Sunday service, right? And what Kanye did with that, like that's very powerful. Like he got a lot of flack for going down that path.
Absolutely.
But then for you, that's a massive elevation.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was really kind of funny because when I first moved to Los Angeles, it was like, that's church stuff. I'm not doing that no more. I've done that all my life, still keeping that a part of me and still having that belief and that faith, but I wanted to be removed from that because I felt boxed creatively. And I wanted to travel. I wanted to sing with artists. I wanted to, do other things creatively that would kind of be frowned upon in church, in certain church settings. So moving to Los Angeles, that was my first time being on my own as an adult. So learning how to take care of myself, living life, really understanding what life is about, but
Laundry
also
and cooking.
literally providing for yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, if I had a child right now, I don't know where I'd be. And that's why I'm like, my parents, I have so much respect for them for how they did it and everything. But literally moving here and getting on the career path and really getting my face out here because I didn't really know anyone moving here. So I had to hit the ground running, had to get my face out there. And in that time of going through the journey, I felt like I was learning more about myself. I was understanding more of my gifting. I started to look at, it wasn't until the Sunday service that I started to really look at my gift as an extension of my other gifts. It was just, I was looking at it as something that I wanted to just kind of push to the side. Oh, nobody wants choirs or anything anymore. So when this happened, I actually was just getting off tour with Beyoncé, just moving into my first apartment on my own here in LA, literally in the U-Haul, get a call from a vocal contractor. He says, hey, Kanye wants to start a choir. I need your help with finding people, and we start tomorrow, pretty much. So that was my introduction into vocal contracting, hiring singers for a specific sound that was requested. This was my time re-entering into choirs and vocals, but at a higher level, at a more demanding level as well. So being assistant director and, teaching all the music at the rehearsals and really sharpening the sound of the choir, it really showed me that I've had this in me all along, but it started to sharpen other skills as well, as far as creative production and lighting and movement and everything that brings together a performance. It really had me honed in on, there's a lot more to this.
Yeah.
Because my only goal when I moved to LA was to sing background for an artist and travel. I wanted to be gone, travel in different countries.
Yeah. Put me on tour.
Put me on tour. That's it. But God gave me that. And he was like, okay, on to the next. And I didn't know what was happening. You see a lot in hindsight, when you sit back and reflect. But at the time, I didn't really know what was happening. But I'm glad I trusted the process, because I feel like I became bulletproof in that process. I know what I'm doing. And even if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not afraid to ask, or I'm not afraid to fail on the job.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of my learning and where I am today is because I've learned on the job, literally.
Yeah, no, and that's the truth. It's about the journey. It's trusting the process. And some of us think the goal line is the finish line, but the goal line is just the check in the journey to the next one, but it's the journey.
Literally.
But I want to backpedal a little bit, because what was the choice that said, hey, I'm going to pack up and move to LA? I was lucky enough. I was born here, so I didn't have to move here. This is my home. I love LA, right? So it's always exciting for me to ask, like, well, why'd you come here? Yeah. Everyone has their story, Hollywood, glitz and glamour, the beach, the weather, whatever. But what was the question you asked yourself and you said, no, this is the right path?
Yeah, California was never in my worldview. Like, I had never even visited. So I was like, okay, cool, I'll go there on vacation or something. But to live, like, no. At that point in time, graduating college, my first time moving away from home I lived in Philly, for 4 years. So that was my eyes being open to the world. Like, okay, the world is much bigger than your neighborhood. The world is much bigger than your own backyard. Yeah. So moved back home after graduating, was working at my dad's church, driving Uber, starting to make my way around the Chicago music scene, singing background, hitting the R&B circuit and everything. And a high school friend, which is my brother to this day, he said, hey, bro, I'm moving to LA. I'm trying to get on these tours. He plays drums. I'm like, bro, that's dope. Like, you should do that. He's like, yeah, you should come with me. I'm like, what? Now, mind you, at this point, I'm on Instagram. I'm seeing singers that I follow touring and doing, like, these are things that I'm seeing often, but it never clicked. Like, maybe I need to go to LA and try. Like, that was never a thought. Like, I was cool in Chicago doing what I was doing. But after he asked me that question, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I literally could not stop thinking about it. And there were, this is probably in about a 4-month process. And in that time, it was so many things trying to deter me and pull me away. And my thought process was like, maybe I should stay here. I don't know anything about LA or whatever. But I was confident in my gift, but it was so many things unknown. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with my parents and just really sharing with them what I was thinking, what I was trying to do. And my dad was like, man, if you're trying to get a job here, that little money that you're bringing in is not going to do anything. So you might as well just go to California and try, at least try, If not, you can come back home. You can always get a job.
There you go.
You can always, do that. So that was the push that I needed. And I'm so grateful to this day for the support of my parents, because that has been so monumental in my life. And I had never visited California, packed my bags, $41 one-way ticket on Southwest on a Tuesday, and I was here. And I was here a month after my friend had already moved here. So he picked me up from the airport. So we're riding down to 405. The sun is setting, and I'm just like, yo, where am I right now? So, and then it set in, like, after I didn't get a job, after a month of searching, it's like, oh, you really didn't think this through. And I only had about like $2,500 or something like that, So it was definitely a faith move and a faith walk. But I'm so glad that I did it because the lessons that I've learned and the things that I've been through has just been unmatched.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Without great risk, there isn't great reward. And you never know what's going to happen after the fact. Luckily, your parents gave you a safety net. Not a lot of us have that opportunity.
Yes.
But that was cool. It's like, hey, we got your back. You can come back. Go do it. Go try it. You know, my wife flipped a coin, New York or California. Where am I going to go? Well, if I need to sleep in a car, California's warm. So she drove to California when she moved here way back in the day. So it's funny. Everyone's got their own journey. So fast forwarding, you got that. You were in a U-Haul. You got that call. Kanye needs a choir, but you just dropped a little nugget and said you just came back from a tour with Beyonce.
Yes.
How does moving to LA, or was that prior to moving to LA? Or talk to me about that. How's that?
Yeah, man. None of this was in any of my, what I could see for myself, like the day that I got to the airport at LAX, if I could say like, oh, you'll be on tour in like 2 years and then 3 years you'll be working with Kanye. Then after that, you're going to be doing your own thing. It's like, I would have never fathomed that.
Yeah.
So, you know, just going, there's a lot of, I'll try to make this not as long as it is, but there's so many things in moving to a new environment and a new space, let alone trying to establish a career. So along with trying to find a job, not having a car, having to take a bus everywhere, you know, really like getting it out the mud and going to open mics, you know, showing my face and showing up and, you know, networking and meeting people. Like it's so much of that has to go on. You know, I believe that people can come here and get right to work if they have the right, you know, whatever, you know, connections, look, whatever. That wasn't my story. So I had to just get out here. So with that, how this industry works, kind of one job kind of leads to the next. So whether that's be a studio session, whether that be you starting at an open mic and you meet somebody, and 2 weeks to a month later, they call you like, hey, can you do the studio session? Sure. Come and do the studio session. You meet more singers. You meet more people. A week or so later, hey, are you available to do this? So it kind of led from there. And I was singing with an R&B artist. His name's Kenny Lattimore. Shout out to Kenny. And learning so much with him, did some traveling with him. And, you know, starting to move around the city after I finally found a job at Reseda High School. After a year and a half, 2 years there, I was like, yeah, it's time to go. I could have done this in Chicago. So if I really want to get it, like I have to go. So I put in my 2 weeks. And with that, I feel like God responded to me because I took that step. And I took that leap even more. It's like, okay, I'm really trusting you now. So once I did that, started to do a few more things around the city, then got a call from another vocal contractor. Hey, are you available these 2 dates in April for Coachella? I'm like, well, I'm supposed to be going to South Africa with Kenny, and that's on my vision board. That's where I've been like, okay, I'm ready to go to a different country. Like, just check that out. So I'm like, unfortunately, I'm not available. Okay, cool. I find out that it's for Coachella for Beyonce. I'm like, are you kidding me? So they had the audition process and everything at that point. So she was gathering her singers that she wanted. So I kind of fumbled that. I was like, dang. A few days later, a few days passed. Another friend hit me, texted me like, hey, I just referred you for an opportunity. Hopefully they reach out. I didn't even ask who it was. I'm like, bet. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Get a text maybe a day or two later saying, hey, show up this time and this date for Coachella rehearsals with Beyonce. So I'm looking at that, having not even auditioned or anything, I'm getting this text saying, show up to rehearsal. So what I do, I show up to rehearsal on time, before time. And I go and shake the...
Early is on time.
Early. So I literally go and shake the MD's hand. I say, hi, hey, man, my name is Steve Epting. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this opportunity. And he's shaking my hand, but kind of looking at me sideways. And I'm like, okay. He said, your name is Steve Epting? I said, yeah. He said, oh, we're looking for a guy named Stevie Notes. And I'm like, now mind you, it's people around at this point. Like I know some of the people that are in there already, so they're kind of looking around. And I'm like, so do you need me to like audition right now? You need me to sing? What's up? Like I'm coming with that energy. He's like, no, you're good. We'll see how it pans out. So in that process, we're preparing for Coachella, end up doing the Coachella performance. It goes amazing, historic performance. My first festival. Then we transitioned to On the Run 2 tour with Jay-Z and Beyoncé, and I'm one of 4 background singers. I'm one of the first male background singers that she's ever had. And that's something that was never in my worldview because knowing her as an artist, you know, she has the woman empowerment thing going. So all female band, all female everything. So that was never an option for me. So the fact that was now my reality, it was like, oh shit, like this is fire.
Yeah.
Like, and this is my first tour, period. You know, my first time getting in-ears, my first time, you know, being on a stage this massive and doing this every night.
Just Bay. It's just Bay.
Literally. And I'm, you know, getting to travel to these different countries, you know, a few countries that I never even heard of. It's like 2018 was the year that I really manifested, you know, and it really showed me like, oh, you can really have whatever you want in this life. You just really have to be aligned and you really have to see it. You really have to see it. So that, after the tour, you know, it led to studio work with, you know, the Lion King soundtrack and Spirit Song and Black is King on Disney Plus and, you know, the Renaissance album now and everything. So it's just been, you know, a whirlwind for sure.
Yeah, but the truth is you really can't have anything. And it's only our limiting beliefs or our limited worldview or ignorance or whatever we want to call it. But we have the opportunity to choose to expand and see something else. And you never know what's going to happen. But we got to choose it, you know? Even if you're fumbling through and like, I'm here. And that's how it happens. You said you have to be open. You got to be in alignment.
Got to be
so
open.
One led to the other, led to the other, led to the other. Now we're back to Sunday service. We're at the choir. What happens there then? What's it like working with Kanye? Did you actually get to interact and start working
hands
with
on,
him?
for sure.
Yeah.
Hands on. He's a creative. And what I mean by that, you know, he's an A-list artist with money at his disposal. So when you work for someone like that, ideas change often, you know, and as, you know, someone with not that much money, you know, a lot of times you're like, well, why are you doing that? Or, well, why would you, logistically, this doesn't make sense, but that doesn't matter to him. He doesn't care. You know, a lot of times that crutches his creative process. So even seeing that was inspiring because it's like, there are no limits. We put limits on ourselves, you know, from what society tells us or how, you know, things should be, you know, and he's literally like, man, bump all that. I'm doing what I want to do. And that's so inspiring on so many different levels, you know. Even from musically, I was already a Kanye fan growing up, being from Chicago. So even having this opportunity was like, okay, this is life real right now. Musically, he would choose all the music and we would rework it and, you know, make it to what Sunday service was. But he was very hands-on in the process of all of it. And it was a really dope experience, like seeing him work, but also him seeing me too. Like, and he knew what was up as far as what I was bringing to the table. And that was affirming for me too, to really believe in what I got and what I have. So that whole experience, that was the most unique experience of my life in regarding to, in this career path with singing and gigs and stuff. Like, you never have a gig that's that consistent. We were literally every week. So every weekend we did a Sunday service of 2019. How many? 52 weeks in a year?
Yeah.
52 Sunday services. So it's like, it got to the point where it started off very, you know, private and niche, but it grew to this thing, you know, that people are still, you know, affected by to this day. And I just feel so blessed to have a small part in that, you know, to let my light shine in that and to be able to see the world, to be able to encourage people that need, you know, that help or need that push to keep going, because life is so hard. And the more I live and continue to experience life, I'm like, oh, I understand how people are the way they are, because life can whoop. I don't know if I can cuss on here, but life can whoop your ass so bad. Like, I really get it, but it's only if you let it, though. Only if you allow it to. So I'm grateful to be I'm grateful to have been in that position and, you know, have that propel me to where I am now and working on my own things and, you know, really trying to shift the perspective or the mindset when it comes to working singers and working musicians, because we are artists as well, you know, and we deserve respect. You know, so when I lead, you know, in the capacities that I do now, I make sure I'm leading with love. So this is so even aligned with where I am now, because so many things are fear-based, and that's ego and people not solid in who they are and what they have. So it's like, why do I have to fear you for you to for us to achieve a goal, you know? And that's always so corny to me. And so I'm very adamant about treating people with respect and just saying things with love, not being a pushover and still getting things done. And when I have to crack the whip, I do it, but it doesn't have to be like I'm tearing you down. Like,
yeah, fear-based leading is too rampant in the world,
man.
But I want to take a couple steps back and then go back to this point and to move forward. And it's going to go into that insecurity and self-doubt and questioning yourself. At any moment were you like, holy shit, I'm working with Beyonce. Holy shit, this is Kanye. Does fear and insecurity and self-doubt creep in? And what did you do to kind of overcome that, to not let that overshadow you and take the lesson? Because now you're on another path. Obviously, it's catapulted you to a different space of confidence. But as creators, sometimes we're like, oh, wow, we're in the room of greatness. Like, could we ever achieve that? And what's that conversation?
So with me, by the time I was working with Beyonce and Kanye, I wasn't having those thoughts because I had done some work when I first moved here, when I wasn't booking anything. That was my first time ever sitting with myself. And when I say sitting with myself, I mean asking myself the hard questions.
Yeah.
Why do you respond the way you do in this situation? Or why do you think like this in this situation? So I was able to start seeing my patterns. And in pursuit of my career, I had adopted like an athletic mindset. So I would go to open mics. I would learn a new song. Every time I sang, it would be a new song. And I would go for it. Go for it vocally, go for it. I'm getting chills right now, even think about it, because I had to get to the point where I'm like, if you're gonna do this, you have to do it. Like, you cannot.
Yeah, it's all or nothing.
You can't half-ass it. So either you're gonna fail in front of others, look like an ass, but pick yourself back up and come back 10 times harder. That's the idea that I adopted. So when I'm in a room with a Kanye or a Beyonce, it's like, hey, we're peers at the end of the day, because I may not be at that level or have the money that you have, but that don't mean I'm out here just, you know, a nobody.
Yeah.
No, clearly I'm here for a reason.
Yeah.
So, and when I got to those situations, I was more so just inspired to go after my stuff even more.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you know, hiding, or I was firm, and I was, you know, standing strong in who I was and what I could do. And I was so confident in that. So I was grateful that I had gone through that self-work, which never is really done, but I had started the process. So I was able to identify when things, if it were to creep up, it's like, oh no, you could do that.
Just noise.
Yeah, it's literally noise, literally.
And where does that mindset come from? Because that takes work. Some of us have it out the gate. Some of us lean into it, grow into it.
Yeah.
But was there a moment or something that said, oh, I need to start doing the work. I need to start asking the questions. I need to start maturing myself to reach greatness?
Yeah. I'm so grateful for the time spent when I first moved here. And shout out to my brother, Calvin Martin. That's my brother to this day, because we went through so much, you know, in that 1-bedroom apartment in Panorama City, you know, really
I grew up in Panorama City.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like literally they're, you know, scheming up plans like, okay, how are we gonna do this? You know? But at the same time, when the calls aren't coming or things aren't happening and you start to look at yourself, it's like, well, you don't have it. Like that's when the self-doubt and things start coming in. So getting to that point where it's like, I don't like how I'm feeling. I don't like how this feels. I don't like some of the patterns that I see in myself. And so I would attribute it to those thoughts, but I would also attribute it to, you know, that friendship that held me down in that time, and we pushed each other, you know, we supported each other. So that helped me to get to that space of confidence, and even just with more things in myself, you know, regarding, you know, life goals, sexuality, different things like that. You know, I was tired of feeling like I had to, you know, hide a little bit. Yeah. It's like, I am who I am. I have what I have. A lot of this I can't help. So it's like,
let me be free,
let me be who
corner.
I am. Like, and if I can't do that, it's like I'm not being authentic. And that's really what it was. I'm like, I want to be as authentic as possible. You know, growing up, you know, with, you know, things that we're taught, you know, and things that we're the traditions and everything we're brought up on, a lot of those things don't even apply to our adult lives anymore. So it's like, why am I wearing that? It's a lot of unlearning that I had to do. Yeah. So that's the process of it. I had to go through that unlearning process and really pulling back the covers and really seeing like, okay, what am I going to keep and what am I tossing? Yeah. So that really helped in this process for sure. And that's why I'm so adamant. I'm like, music and everything is cool, but what is your soul? Like, your soul has to be, you have to take care of it, because it's very easy to get lost in this industry. You know, the lights, you know, the parties, the traveling and everything, like, that's
trying to hit the charts. What's the next hit? What's next month? There's so much that's inauthentic. Like, sometimes they say these A&R guys are just, what's the next pop hit, running through artists. Artists, I believe in what I see, they don't really have careers anymore, right? How many people are just blasting out songs? Well, one good one, the rest is crap. And that's it, they're gone. There's no like Michael Jackson longevity, right? We're not seeing that anymore. Or it's album after album after album instead of taking some time. Everyone got pissed at Kendrick because he took so long. Yeah. And
one
then
of my favorite artists.
Dude, me too, hands down. He's got this clip like, we're on this planet to love and be loved. That's why we're here. But like, Damn was fantastic. Yes. Years go by, I'm like, oh, I need me some Kendrick. I need me some Kendrick. Comes out on Baby Keem. I got my fix. Then Mr. Moral comes out in the Big Steppers. The night it came out, 9 p.m. PST, I listened to it twice. I'm holding my baby, rocking him to sleep, and I just sat there. And then you start hearing the haters because they're like, and I'm going off on a tangent now, but they're like, well, that's not Damn. I'm like, dude, if your artist doesn't evolve, like, that's the whole point. And he even says, bro, I was suffering. I was suffering from writer's block. I didn't know what to do. Until he figured it out and dropped this new gem of an album. And if you compare them to each other, then why do you need a new album? Listen to the same one for the rest of your life. If you want the same thing, just slightly different.
And you want me to regurgitate the same thing? Yeah. Like, no, that's not artistry.
So, but it comes down to like, that's an example of someone that's sticking to his truth, his morals, his everything. He's another true artist. So the fact that you're on that path, and like, where can we get lost in this? Because we all get lost chasing shiny objects. Yes. I get lost in it all the time, right? I'm like, I'm not that artist, or I'm not that artist, or am I big enough yet, or am I this? You know, but at the end of the day, it's like, am I putting in the work? Am I putting in the reps? Am I churning out work? Is it aligned with my vision, myself, my truth? And we're growing. 10 years from now, you're like, oh, I was somewhere.
Literally. And I think that applies even to me with regards to, I told you when I started doing the open mic circuit here, vocally, like, it's the same thing. Like, oh, I don't sound like this person, or I don't sing high like this person. It's like, that can really crutch you. And it has crutched me, especially unconsciously through social media or the things that I've consumed. It's like, oh, you ain't shit. You're trash. Like, But that's so damaging to where you are. You just really got to love what you naturally have and where you are. Not saying you can't get better, not saying you can't sharpen those skills, but you have to understand where you are in order to see that.
And just stop comparing. That's it. Where am I? Where am I right now? Let me not compare because I'm not going to be happy. We're never going to be anybody else. We're only who we are. So let's be authentic to that. And authentic is just, it's a shitty buzzword now. Everyone's like, oh, is this authentic to me? Dude, are you like, if you're asking it, then is it? Like, it's,
Yes.
You just got to be real.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
So, you know, you're sitting here doing the open mics. You're testing yourself at all the times. But has there been a moment where it challenged everything in you and you're like, I shouldn't be doing this? And literally just almost to an existential crisis where like full doubt, full confidence, smash. And, you know, what was that moment? What was that lesson? And like, how did you get past that?
Definitely had a lot of those moments. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, I literally remember one time when I was living in Panorama City, because I didn't have a car, so I would walk to the Starbucks for free Wi-Fi because we didn't have Wi-Fi.
Where in Panorama City?
So literally right across from the Food for Less and the Walmart, Roscoe.
I lived on Roscoe and Lenox between Chase. Chase and there was a Carl's Jr. right there. That used to be a music store on that corner. That used to go. That's where I bought my first CD.
Wow.
We used to walk up and down there. Yeah, I live right. We still have that house, but
wow, man, this world is so small.
Yeah.
But literally walking there because we didn't have Wi-Fi, and I would just do a lot of work there. So I would be in there on Craigslist looking for stuff, applying for jobs, watching YouTube videos, self-help stuff, like literally just trying to get knowledge. You know, I wasn't buying anything. Sorry, Starbucks. Got me a little venti ice water, you know, so I can sit down in there. But
they'll give you water for free all day.
Exactly. But I just remember one day feeling so overwhelmed because after, you know, putting in the work consistently for so long, it can get tiring. It will get tiring. It will get draining. And I just remember calling my dad. I walked to the parking lot. And I just remember calling my dad, like, I'm finna come home. Like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, this is literally not what I asked for. And I'm sick of, like, just subjecting myself to this when I don't have to. Like, I got a car at home. You know, I have, you know, things that I'm purposely taking myself out of comfort.
You got mama's cooking.
To literally go and fulfill a dream, something I see but I can't see. And I just remember him telling me, like, I hear you, but you just stick it out. Just stick it out, like, something's gonna happen. And, you know, it's conversations like that, not only from my dad, but other family members. And I just have so many other stories of my support from Chicago, like literally things like sending me money at the most opportune times where I wasn't sharing that I needed it, but like, hey, go pick this money up from Walmart, and not knowing that's the exact amount of money that I need to pay my bills.
Damn.
Or for me to eat that day or something like that. Like, it's just so many signs that, you know, not only do you have people that care for you, but God is looking out big time.
Yeah, when you're tapped in and believing.
Gotta be. And that's one thing that I'm so glad about my childhood. It's a lot of things now that about the church that I don't necessarily subscribe to, but I will never forsake my upbringing and my faith. Like literally my faith. Like I know who I'm tapped in with. I know who is my source. I know who my creator is. Like, so I don't worry. Like, you know, even in this business, there are times you could be on tour, you can be, you know, working with the biggest artists and the money ain't there. Or you waiting for 30 days to a month or more than a month to get your money, and you just out here, you know. But on social media, it looks like you living a dream. It looks like you got it. But it's like, no, there are still moments where life happens. And so me knowing who my source is and I'm tapped in, I might feel it. I might feel like, okay, what's gonna happen? But ultimately I know I don't have to worry about that because it's gonna come. Whatever I need is going to come, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah. And you know, the church or religion is a construct. I grew up in Christian school. You know, I believe in God, another power, the power of love, the universe, Mother Earth, all of these things. And ultimately, you don't have to go to church to be tapped in.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Even in the Bible, it's like we tore down the curtain on the tabernacle. You could just talk to me. There's the business of church. That's one thing. And then there's faith and spirituality.
And community.
And community.
Like, and that's what I have known to, you know, be another positive aspect of it, you know. Just having a community of people that are supportive, you know, praying for you, praying with you, you know, that's helpful as well when going through, you know, and tapping into new areas of your life.
Yeah. That's the thing. There's this, I always mess it up because I don't remember it. I should really look it up and learn it. But there's a key amount of humans for humans to survive. Like one human on their own, gonna die. 2, gonna die. 3, gonna die. 4, gonna die. 5, gonna die. I think the magic number is 7. You know, don't quote me on this, anybody. But for the example, it is, we can't survive on our own. We are communal creatures.
Yeah.
We need people around us. We survive by love and energy and all of that. And I think that's sometimes what we forget because we get siloed out. But even as a creator, I'm in here by myself a lot. It gets lonely being a creator.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, we're doing work to amplify messaging for communities, for humanity. And it's kind of funny where sometimes I'm in here by myself. I'm like, I'm designing a mural and I'm going to go paint it. And I'm like, millions of people are going to see this mural
that I
via
did by
social.
myself.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm here designing by myself, and whoever's the approver on the other side, and the building owner saying, "Cool." But then millions of people are going to see it. You know, just driving by, walking by, social shares, web shares, whatever shares, and not realizing that because sometimes you're deep in the lab. You're just in there trying to get it done.
Yeah.
So now you are. You know, you've got a new project, or I guess it's your business, right? And you sit there, you're mentoring artists, you're cultivating artists, you're helping them grow. What are some of the lessons? And let's not be super specific in music, but to all creators or entrepreneurs or people that want to maybe work on their side hustle, that you're helping now, having them question or walk down these paths to find their light, to find their truth, to find their gift. Your medium happens to be music. Mine is art, which I keep transcribing and amplifying. Like I tell you, like, dude, we should make a song on love. Like, let's do it. So what are some of those lessons? Because the youth is our future.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe some of the things that you can ask yourself, you know, in order to, and on your journey, I would say, one, what lights me up? You know, that could be a myriad of things. That doesn't even have to be your main, you know, thing. What lights me up? What lights me up? What are things that make me happy? Because I think a lot of times we forsake that, and sometimes we have to be selfish. I'm in this place now of understanding the importance of pouring in before pouring out. I've been in spaces over these maybe last 3 to 4 years where I'm constantly pouring out, but my pour in is not matching how much I'm pouring out.
Oh, I've been there, trust me.
I'm anxious. I'm feeling low-key depressed. I don't want to leave home. I don't want to talk to anybody because I'm so drained. I'm just drained. I'm tired of everything. And I never want to get back to that place again. And I'm understanding how I have to show up for myself every day. So it's like, how are you showing up for yourself every day? How are you watering your garden? How are you laying your brick for the day? You know, how are you filling your glass? You know, whatever visual that you need, how are you doing that? You know, for me, I have to pray every day. I have to just give myself, even if it's 5 minutes or less, you know, and I try to do more than that. But even if it's that, it's like, okay, I showed up for myself spiritually today. Okay. Did I go to the gym today? Did I take a walk? Did I do yoga on YouTube or something? okay, I showed up for myself physically today. Like showing up for yourself is much more important than we know. And the small increments every day lead to something big, you know? So
It's a compounding effect.
literally. And we don't want to look up and feel like that draining feeling is like, oh, I'm just tired of everything. Like, so I think those questions, if you start asking yourself those, I think that just contributes to, you know, spreading more love. First of all, having love for ourselves and really understanding what self-love is.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to pour out and love on others and love what we do and, you know, just incorporate love into everything and how we speak, you know, and how we, you know, communicate with others. Like all of that's important, but it all starts with how you pour into and how you even communicate with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and what you're saying, like, being selfish is necessary. And you can't be selfless without being selfish.
Yes.
And that pouring in, a lot of us either give. I was a huge giver. I was
Yes.
on the couch exhausted. Come end of the week, leave me the hell alone.
Don't talk to me.
I'm out. I can't do anything. I could barely get off the couch. Like,
Okay.
I am done. And then there's takers. And sometimes the overgiver gets lined up with the taker, and like you're in this eternal, like, why am I drained? So it's also like pay attention to the circles that you're in, but equally giving and receiving. It's great to give. It feels good. It's being in service, but don't forget to be in service to yourself. Take it
Absolutely.
back. Fill in your own cup. And it's not half empty, half full. It's always abundant and there.
Abundance, yes. No lack over here, you know? And that's in every area, you know, financially or career-wise or whatever. Like, I'm not living in lack. I'm not thinking in lack. I'm operating in abundance. Now, that is an active thing I have to intentionally sometimes tell myself, you know, it's like, okay, get that negative thought out your mind or, you know, amplify your positive self-talk. And this is literally for me within the last month that it's finally clicked for me because I'm like, I'm tired of like emotions and things just festering and just sitting. Like, okay, I need to call it out what it is, speak to it, and keep it moving because, you know, that emotional blockage and just holding on to so much is really draining and it's not healthy.
No, it makes you sick. It makes you angry. You're like, what's going on? Like, why am I snappy? Like, I mean, I could say that a lot of that can lead to cancer and why we're sick in the body. It's not just what we eat. It's what we're holding in and not expressing. And we're creating our own poisons. And then the conversations we have, we're literally making them real. If we keep saying, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm fat, I'm depressed, we're going to believe that. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So we get to shift out of that, whatever it is to help us get to that point and be happy. Now, if we get cancer because of mutations and all that, we can't beat everything, but there are some things we can do to be better for our own mental health and physical health. And
Absolutely.
You know, and I think it starts now because I want to be 80 and happy. I don't want to be 80 and decrepit.
Literally.
And mentally destroyed.
Yes. Gotta show up for yourself. That's like literally, prior to this, I just wanted to go to the gym so I could take my shirt off. But I'm like, I want to be like, I want wellness like in my full life. So I'm no longer worried about like a specific physical goal or whatever in the gym. It's just like, I just want to, I want to feel good. I want to wake up with energy. You know, I want to be able to start my day and have it be productive and everything and not feel sluggish or whatever. Like, it's really growing and really understanding that. Yeah,
it's what's your why, what's your intention. I'm a big fitness guy. I've been an athlete my whole life. Football, soccer, track, CrossFit, you name it, snowboarding. And, you know, I have my own things around, I want to look good. You know, I'm vain. We're all vain. We want to look good. I was in LA, like good-looking people everywhere. But that's not my why. That's not why I train. You know why I train? Because I want to play with my grandkids. I want to be around. When I travel, I want to sprint up that pyramid, even when I'm 75. What's the point of having all the money in the world if you can't get off the lounger because you're so unhealthy and you're out of breath? The six-pack's a happy byproduct. If I trained for the six-pack, then I'm going to steroids, diets, all these things are feeding ego to surprise them. But for me, the six-pack's a happy byproduct. When you do what you love, the money's a happy byproduct. When it's a byproduct, because that's not your why, because I've done many things for money. You know,
Yes.
when I was in real estate and when I was in finance, the metric was money.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in real estate, it rained money. I'm like, I just have to make more. I could have
Yeah.
traveled the world. I had plenty.
Yeah.
Then I went bankrupt. I had to start over from zero. So it's like, now it's like, cool. I'm not allergic to money. I need it. I like nice things.
Yeah.
I got a sneaker fetish, but it's no longer to make me whole. This is because I like it. It's my why. It's a cool thing. It's my extra whatever,
Yeah.
but not my purpose.
Literally. And I even think that applies to you know, some things that I've gone through, even as I ascend and learn more about this industry and learn more about my career. I'm learning now, it's like you don't have to say yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, does this align with everything I need? And am I making this decision based off, do I need money right now to pay my bills right now? Like, because I've made a few decisions off that and I was so unhappy.
Dude, been there, done
And I was
that. It's the
probably
worst.
still waiting on money after that. Like, it made it even worse. Like,
You hated the project.
Yeah.
You compromised your own values.
Yes.
Like I painted a mural for money, and I'm like, that. I don't even talk about the mural. I don't share the mural. I don't like.
yes. So I'm like, I never want to do that again.
How do you define success for yourself, especially in that industry where success is measured by the #1 song on the Billboard chart or the number of Grammys?
Yeah.
And how is that keeping you motivated? And what's your end goal? Like, what's next?
Yeah. So prior to now, my only goal was to, like I said, sing background for an artist. And that was my first time in life achieving a goal and being like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
It was like, yo, it's more after this. Like, I thought that was going to be like everything. So, you know, now I define success. Am I whole as a person? And I know we're healing. We're all, you know, going through process. But how do I feel? That's #1 for me. The fact that I can do what I love solely and make money, that's success to me. Being in a space where my creative projects and my creative ideas are done at a high level. And me having my own space, you know, a home that I own where I can grow my own vegetables and really be as self-sufficient as possible, because they trying to kill us out here with the food. So like literally like that right now, that's success to me. I can be okay with that. And so transitioning into everything that I'm doing now, I'm aligning myself with that. I know that, you know, I've shared earlier that, you know, I had the confidence that, you know, these are my peers. Even though I'm working, you know, for them, I'm working with you. You know, we're collaborating. So now I'm in a space of knowing that I am that too. So treating myself like that, treating myself like the brand, treating myself like the business, and really amplifying my vocal master classes. So in 2016, I started my first vocal master class here in LA. Hadn't booked anything, but I'm sharing steps on how to make it in a new city, how to sharpen your singing skills, but also giving life lessons of what I'm learning at the time about doing the work, you know? So now I'm at the place now where I'm planning to take them to different countries and different cities around the US and share my story, share the music piece of it, but also share the life piece. So it's an edutainment course mixed with a little bit of life stuff in there as well. And really looking to do my part in things that I'm passionate about outside of music. Like I said, the food and spiritual health, overall wellness, joy. Like, it's so many things in this world. There are moments for me where I just get so down, like watching the news and social media. It's just depressing.
I don't watch the
like,
news.
yeah, I don't even touch the
can't
news
do it,
anymore.
yeah.
But like, even scrolling through socials and just, this is happening here and this is happening here. Like, for me as an empath, like, that weighs on me. And I know that I have to either not see it or find ways to get that off me. So I just want to do my part in helping to show love and shine light on the things that I care about, the things that are positive. I'm no longer worried about positive toxicity or whatever that word is when people are too positive.
Toxic positivity.
Like,
man, it's a bad thing.
Yeah. And I don't know if I necessarily believe that anymore because I want to inject as much as that as possible. Still sharing the real, like life ain't always, sunshine and rainbows, but I'm refusing to solely focus on the things that I don't want or I don't want to see. Because we can spend a lot of time talking about that. But what do we want to see? What light do we want to shed? So that's where I'm at now.
Yeah. That's like optimism is one thing. I'm an optimist in everything. Mm-hmm. I'm positive, but like toxic positivity is, to make it super simple, it's like you're not listening to what actually is happening and you're sugarcoating it in another way and saying, well, I'm being positive about it while you're on fire. Yeah. I'm like, no, bro, you're on fire. Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm just warm right now or whatever. Like, no, you are literally burning. Like, so that's where it gets unhealthy because we're not actually facing the problem. Yes. We're sugarcoating it and trying to look all the way around it. It's still there. What you resist,
and you're
persists.
Just avoiding. Yeah. Literally avoiding a lot of things and not able to call them out. Yeah. And I believe I was there at a point in my life. But when you're able to be real with yourself first, then you could be real with other things.
No, for reals. And then manifesting, I don't like talk about manifesting a lot or vision boards. I just throw stuff out there or I tell people all the time. I have conversations and I'll spit stuff out like, yeah, one day I want to have an album. And a bunch of my artist friends, we're going to have an album and we're just putting it out there for the world. Premise is going to be on love. We're going to rap and sing about love and it's going to be cool. And we don't have to sing about diamonds and drugs all the time. Yeah. And not that I don't get my two-step on with a good song, but still, like, there's another way.
That can't be it.
Exactly. Right. Or I'll throw out, one day when Nike calls, I always say the campaign is, they're going to say, just do it like Ruben and live through love. So I that's how I meant it. I just throw it out there. Yes. Hey, it's going to happen. Someone's going to listen. I'm going to believe it enough, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say it. And then the NFL calls. And here we are. And then, who knows who's calling next? Yep. You never know. Kanye calls, right? You never know as long as you're putting it out there. Yep. Is there a dream artist that you want to work with?
You already said him. K-Dot, baby. K-Dot. Like, I was like, on this last tour, I'm like, man, like, just call me up to sing one song with you. Just at least one, But
trying to get him on the pod.
I see that happening. And I feel like to me, he's an overall artist. Like, granted, musically, he got bars. He's definitely an MC, like a great rapper. But to me, what appeals me is not only that, but visually. His videos, what he's talking about in his interviews. Like, to me, that's like an all-around artist. Like, his show is top tier. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, that's so inspiring. And, for me, it was like, I knew Good Kid, Mad City, but To Pimp a Butterfly was like,
oh yeah,
bro, what? Like, that was my senior year of college, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this artist thing, and I don't even rap.
Some of the songs on there though, like
I still bump that to this day.
Oh yeah, it doesn't age
still.
But what's funny, because I want to unpack that a little bit, because you're like, he's an all-around artist, and we look at these people. Because sometimes as artists, as creatives, we put ourselves in our own corners. Like, I started with murals. Then I went to the canvas. Then I went to sculptures. Then I went to clothing. Now I got a podcast. I've done some songs. I've got a spoken word poetry book. I'm in all these things. And I'm like, am I doing too much? I'm like, no, I can apply my art to everything. That means I'm just more either tapped into my vision, my purpose, and more of an all-around artist, because I'm trying to visually storytell with the podcast and speak storytell. We make a song, we put up a mural, a sculpture, all the things, like the stuff put it on a tequila bottle, trying to make some Jordans one day. There's going to be the Ruben Jordan, like all these things. I'm looking at that. And sometimes I have that question, like, am I doing too much? Should I stay in my lane? Like, how often does that happen in your world? Like, you're just a vocalist. Don't go produce a song. Don't write some beats. Don't try to rap. You're not a rapper. Right. or whatever the case is, or don't become an actor,
Yeah.
or don't write a book,
Yeah.
don't go become a painter. Like, how many of us fall under that trap? Like, we're all creators. Just own it all.
Yeah.
You can be a Kanye and a Kendrick and people that do more than that one lane
Absolutely.
without compromise.
Absolutely. I believe that, a lot of that is preached to us. You got to do one thing, especially even outside of the arts. Like, my parents, would tell me, you got to go to college. Like, you need a career. You need something that's going to make you money. And granted, that's, like you said earlier, they were looking out for us, wanted the best for us. And essentially is what they were taught,
There is
But
truth in it.
There's very much so truth in it. And I would not negate it. But, to a certain extent, that could, with me being, an extremist in ways, I can apply that too much, and be like, okay, well, I can only do this, and maybe that's my own detriment. But, getting out of our own heads, First of all, I do believe that we need to sharpen whatever we do have, not necessarily saying before we move into other mediums, but you got to be solid in something, like unwavering, unshaken. Like, this is your thing, like, own it. And whatever, your process is or your journey, it doesn't have to be like somebody else's, but, me, I had to get solid in what I was doing first. And then it opened my eyes to all the other possibilities. Like, oh yeah, I do that too. Or I can do that too. And your journey was probably different, but like, some people are just born with multiple gifts and they just fire like that, So.
And how many of us don't actually do it though, right?
Oh yeah.
Remember, how many people are so talented and then just never tap in?
Fear.
Yeah.
Fear. And that's why I say I understand why people are the way they are, because it could be certain life circumstances, or they're taking care of a sick family member, or just so many things that can keep you in that space. But you have to get to a place of, if you want it bad enough, you'll go get it. And my thing is, what I always say is, you can't teach somebody how to hustle. You can't teach somebody how to want it. They got to want it for themselves. So you can give them all the tools, you can give them all the gems, you can give them everything. But if they don't pick it up and apply it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They got to want it for themselves.
Well, we'll leave it on that, because that's the truth. At the end of the day, you also can't want it more for someone else that doesn't want it.
Yep.
Right.
Literally.
All right. Well, thank you so much for dropping in, hanging out, sharing your story.
Thanks for having me.
We've got the question now. Randy knows the question.
The question.
Huh? Nah, why'd you mess it up, bro? Don't worry. We're going to edit all this out, though. It's all good. So, Steve, final question. There's no right answer. There's your answer. And how do you define living a life through love?
I would define living a life through love in the little moments. Like I said earlier, how you speak to yourself. The conversations that go on through your mind, are you attacking yourself? Or are you giving yourself grace? Are you treating yourself like you would treat a newborn child? Are you screaming at your newborn child all the time, or are you nurturing it? Are you helping it to grow? Are you looking at the wounds and the heal and sitting with it a little bit, loving with care? Are you doing that, or are you tearing yourself down all the time? Facts. You tearing yourself down before anybody else tears you down. So to me, it's in the little moments. It's in how you communicate with others, how you go after the things that you want. Are you excited about it, or is it a chore? When in communal spaces, are you looking to edify? Are you looking to uplift? Or are you looking to tear down or talk about somebody? It's all in those little moments that really show you how you live your life with love or without,
And that's it,
Yeah.
with or without.
Yeah.
It's love or fear.
Yeah.
We make everything else up under those two pillars. And when we realize that, I think it's easier to kind of navigate the waters.
Yeah.
So if you're up for a challenge,
Uh-oh.
I said, well, you spit some bars earlier. You're like, but I'm not even around.
Hey, I
You
ain't
can
gonna
sing
embarrass
a
myself on that.
But if you're up for the challenge,
Woo,
or just like if you sing a little hymn or a rhyme, like what would be a little song or a chorus for living through love?
okay. Love, love, I gotta do it for me. Love, love, I gotta do it for me. Right off the top.
Boom. Steve Epting, where can the audience find you?
You can find me on Instagram at need4_Steve, NEEDFOR_Steve.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Live Through Love. If you love this episode, you'll love this episode.